How many times in your life have you had the chance to change the lives of millions of people? People that are forced to prick themselves every day several times just to stay alive. Diabetes is a daily struggle for 382 million people. 40 million of them have lost the ability to produce the insulin hormone and are dependent on insulin injections on a daily basis. 2 million of them suffer from severe unstable diabetes and are not able to balance their blood sugar levels. By the end of this movie, more than 1 million people will administer insulin to themselves. As of today, the cutting-edge treatment for diabetes is transplantation of insulin-producing cells by infusing them to the liver. Unfortunately, 80% of the cells do not survive the transplantation, rendering the treatment ineffective for the long term. Is this how the story ends? Not if you ask us. Meet Betalin Therapeutics, the next generation of insulin-producing cells transplantation, providing a solution for insulin-dependent diabetic people. So, how does our technology actually work? We use tissue engineering. We take natural tissue and remove the cells in the lab, creating a biological element, a scaffold, which has minute dimensions. We found that this scaffold can serve as the optimal environment for the insulin-producing cells, enabling them to function properly. Then, we seed the insulin-producing cells onto the microscaffold. We have just created a natural, smart, and highly effective micropancreas. What's next? Now, the surgeon can implant a few hundred of the micropancreas in the patient's body via a minimally invasive procedure. And that's it. The implanted cells are now capable of independently producing insulin in response to the patient's sugar levels. With our innovative micropancreas, Betalin Therapeutics strives to provide patients with a one-time procedure which is highly effective, cost-effective, and with long-term effect. So far, we have performed thousands of lab experiments with clear and strong results. Further promising animal studies give us the confidence to continue with our efforts and find a cure for diabetes. As we speak, we are moving forward with additional studies and preparation for FDA approval and our next step, a human treatment using our micropancreas under clinical studies. To ensure best results and support our vision, we gathered some of the best minds in the field. Professor Ed Matrani, Chief Scientist and Head of Scientific Advisory Board, the developer of the technology, a world-renowned scientist in tissue engineering and regenerative medicine, co-developed the technologies of medgenics and ontogeny. Professor James Shapiro, member of the Scientific Advisory Board, a world-leading expert in cell transplantation, the developer of the Edmonton Protocol, the state-of-the-art of insulin-producing cells transplantation. Professor Camillo Ricordi, member of the Scientific Advisory Board, a world-leading expert in cell transplantation and developer of Ricordi's chamber for insulin-producing cells isolation. Professor Yaron Elin, Chief Medical Officer, Director of the Department of Medicine at Hebrew University, Hadassah Medical Center, world-renowned scientist in the fields of internal medicine, immunology, liver diseases, and diabetes. Mr. Doron Birger, Chairman of the Board, a seasoned executive of the Israeli high-tech industry, served as Chief Executive Officer of Elron Electronic Industries, and as Chairman of Given Imaging until it was sold in 2014 to Covidien in a $1 billion deal. Mr. Alan Morin, Chief Executive Officer, experienced biotech executive, served as Chief Executive Officer of Inlivex Therapeutics and led the company from an early stage through clinical trials towards Phase 3. Mr. Shuki Hershkovisi, founder, a serial entrepreneur and capital markets expert, specializes in mergers and acquisitions and developing private and public companies. Let's make a change together. Join us in our efforts to find a cure for diabetes. Betalin Therapeutics, a game changer in diabetes.